Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into, well, an intriguing question for you. How do the skills we build up over a lifetime, especially those really human ones, communication, empathy, how do they evolve? And find surprising new uses, particularly maybe after retirement. We're going to explore two really different life paths today. But at their core, they reveal this persistent power of human connection.
Yeah, it's fascinating. One involves a bus conductor who, believe it or not, became this compelling storyteller.
Right. And the other, a retired individual supporting Ukrainian refugees online. Very different worlds.
Totally different, but it's a study in adaptability, isn't it? We'll be looking at how these deep-seated abilities become absolutely crucial, for navigating tricky human interactions, bridging cultural divides.
Even grappling with new tech.
Exactly. This deep dive, it's really going to show how all that wisdom and experience we gather, it's not just stored away. It can be applied in really meaningful, often unexpected ways.
Leading to some real aha moments, hopefully, about just how valuable those human-centric skills are.
Definitely.
So our sources for this are pretty rich. We've got this really moving account from a retired person who's doing online support for Ukrainian refugees. And it highlights these unique challenges, but also the triumphs of cross-cultural communication when the need is just immense.
And our second source is a series of reflections from George McKenna. He showed them on his YouTube channel, CroyHill Media. George talks about his own really varied career path, started as a bus conductor, learned some amazing lessons there.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Then through engineering, and finally, really embracing being a storyteller in retirement.
So our mission today, to kind of pull out the surprising connections between these journeys, illustrate that deep power of human connection, this sheer necessity of adapting, and maybe that subtle art of truly listening.
Yeah, and you'll see how these core skills, they don't just transfer between jobs, they actually transform, finding completely new ways to be expressed.
Okay, so let's unpack George McKenna's story first. George, he's 70 now, and he says he spent, quote, most of his life face-to-face with people listening to their problems, finding solutions, and trying to give something back.
Quite a statement.
It really is. And what's amazing is where it all began for him as a bus conductor. Seems like an unlikely place to become a master communicator, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but actually it was foundational. George really vividly describes learning the value of listening, not just hearing back then. I mean, think about it. A bus is like a little society on wheels.
Right. All sorts of people.
An incredible range of personalities every single day. So that job, it became this intense practical class in human relations. He learned how to read people, how to calm them down.
How a smile could just smooth things over.
Exactly. Or, as he put it, using a quick quip and a grin to turn a potential argument into a laugh, helping people get where they were going, literally and otherwise. That's a great line.
So way more than just collecting fares. It was active engagement. It sounds almost like, predictive empathy on wheels.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. He wasn't just reacting. He was maybe anticipating needs, trying to de-escalate friction before it even properly started. And what's really fascinating is how he identifies true listening as this core skill, forged right there in that very public, very human role. It was dynamic, not just passively watching.
Yeah.
That early job absolutely set the stage. It showed that connecting with people, like right there in the moment, was central to his abilities from the get-go.
And that ability to connect, it didn't just stay on the bus, did it? He later trained as a field service engineer for radio, TV, electronics. But then for over 20 years, mostly white goods, washers, dryers, fridges. How did those people skills work when fixing machines?
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. George recalls customers often couldn't quite say what was wrong. They'd just say, it's not sounding the way it normally does, or
Something's just not quite right.
Exactly. They knew the rhythm, the feel of their machine had changed, but not the why. So George's skill wasn't just in diagnosing the mechanics. It was in understanding the people who use them. He had to listen really carefully to their descriptions, which were often not technical at all. Ask the right questions. Use that human input to figure out the actual problem.
So even fixing a washing machine, the human element was key. Empathy was like a diagnostic tool itself.
Precisely. He was interpreting someone's experience of their broken appliance to fix the actual appliance.
Wow.
It really shows something profound, I think. Even in super technical fields, the user's experience, how they describe it, is vital data. That ability to read people, honed on the buses, translated directly into being a better engineer.
He wasn't just fixing a component, he was decoding a human interaction with technology.
Yeah, it shows how empathy and, diagnostic skill are actually deeply intertwined. It doesn't matter if it's people or machines, in a way.
Okay, so his career kept evolving. From 1998 until he retired in 2020, he worked as an SVQ assessor, that's Scottish Vocational Qualification, guiding engineers, managers, staff through these complex professional standards.
Right. And he described his role as taking all that, quote, complex qualification criteria, all that jargon, and turn it into something people could actually understand.
And he found he had a real knack for it. Not just explaining, but storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. He'd use examples, build these little what-if scenarios to make the complex stuff click. He realized narrative was the key, the bridge.
Yeah, it really highlights something important about expertise, doesn't it? It's not just knowing stuff. It's being able to simplify, to contextualize, to make dense information actually stick.
Absolutely.
His natural storytelling ability, which you can see developed across all these different jobs, it became his superpower. It's more than just good communication. It's almost a form of leadership, right? Guiding people through complexity.
Definitely. Making the intimidating feel manageable.
So fast forward. He retires in 2020, and George said, look, he wasn't after money. He wanted, quote, something meaningful, creative, something that made use of everything I'd learned, which led him to YouTube, storytelling.
But not the super polished stuff, as he says. More like just people sitting down telling stories about life, people, and memory. Very down to earth.
And like a lot of creators now, he first thought about using AI, maybe to help write or even do the narration. Seems efficient, right?
You'd think so. Modern approach. But he hit a wall pretty quickly.
Yeah, so.
The AI voices, he said, they never got the names. He gives these brilliant specific examples, like Edinburgh became Edinburgh.
Oh.
Helensburgh was Helensburgh. Dornoch, not even close. And these classic Scottish place names like Auchenshogel, the AI said Oringshogel.
Oh, no.
And Auchtermuchty became Moochie. Even Loch, like Loch Lomond, it pronounced it like the letter L.
Just L. Wow. That would grate immediately, wouldn't it? Especially for locals.
Totally. It couldn't grasp those regional nuances, the very sounds that give stories their authentic flavor. It even struggled with historical names in places like Mary Queen of Scots at Inchmahome Priory or Loch Leven Castle.
So the AI just lacked that cultural embedding.
Exactly, that nuance, that authentic voice that really only comes from human experience, from knowing a place and its sounds.
It's a really profound point, actually. For all its power, AI often misses those subtle but absolutely crucial bits of culture and context. So George realized, okay, if these stories are mine, I should be the one to tell them.
Yeah, even if he was maybe a bit nervous about his own voice or being on camera at first.
But what's interesting is how his approach then evolved. Because while his natural voice is fine for Scottish listeners,
Right.
he found it wasn't always as clear for people unfamiliar with the accent. Plus, the practical stuff, soundproofing a room, fixing mistakes and recordings, it takes time.
Oh, yeah, recording is way harder than people think.
So he adapted again. Now he says every recording is AI generated.
Oh, really? After hitting that wall?
Yeah, but here's the key. The words remain entirely his own. And he often chooses an American AI voice.
An American voice. What?
Because, he figured, its occasional pronunciation errors are kind of generally accepted by Scottish audiences. You expect an outsider maybe not to get it perfectly. But an inaccurate Scottish AI voice, that would just feel wrong, inauthentic, jarring.
Wow, that's a really clever, almost counterintuitive strategy. It's not about pure accuracy. It's about audience perception and what feels culturally acceptable.
Exactly. An American AI messing up a Scottish name is sort of, okay, it's not their culture. But a Scottish AI getting it wrong feels like a deeper failure. That's a deep insight into how we perceive things, not just about tech.
That shows incredible, pragmatic adaptability. He's using the text strategically, based on understanding his audience. Really smart.
And he's poured this into several creative projects. He's got books out through his CroyHill Media. One's called The Man Who Jumped First. It's a time travel alternate history thing. And get this, he says he collaborates with 3 AIs. He's named Charles.
Named AIs, okay.
Yeah, Charles is apparently a sarcastic, grumpy old man AI.
Yeah.
And there's Cheney and Floyd.
That's brilliant. So he's not anti-AI at all. He's using it creatively on his own terms.
Right. He's also written, AI for Teenagers and the AI Adventure Guide for Kids and his YouTube channel, CroyHill Media. It's this vibrant mix. Time travel, Scottish folklore, Really personal tales. Even old bus garage legends, like one called Eddie's Route from the 70s.
Huh. Bus garage legends. Love it. It sounds like a real tapestry. He calls it his wee project in retirement, where he's still building a bigger world with stories.
It really shows the breadth of what's possible, doesn't it? Taking lifelong skills onto totally new digital platforms, but keeping that human core absolutely central.
Definitely. A great example.
Okay, now let's shift gears to our second story. It navigates a very different landscape of human connection, but just as profound, I think. After retiring in 2020, this individual, and we're keeping their identity private, they were looking for another learning opportunity. But they weren't keen on, quote, standing up in a classroom scenario lecturing people. They preferred one-to-one or one-to-small groups online.
So that preference for more intimate personal interaction really guided what they did next. It wasn't just about killing time. It was about finding meaningful engagement, on a human scale.
Exactly. So when an online support role came up, it seemed like a good fit.
Right.
And then, December 2022, things changed dramatically. Their short-term contract pivoted. Suddenly, it was about supporting Ukrainian refugees.
Wow. Okay. Big shift.
Huge. And their first reaction, totally honest. Get real. I can only speak English. Such an understandable thought, right? Facing that massive language barrier immediately.
Oh, absolutely. Daunting. But they were persuaded, apparently, that with a translator and using translated emails, it could work.
Yeah. And that willingness to step so far out of their comfort zone linguistically because they wanted something truly meaningful, that's pretty remarkable.
It really is. It shows how that deep desire to connect and contribute can sometimes push us past really practical hurdles into roles we never expected, but that turn out to be vital.
And here's where the communication challenges got incredibly nuanced. They arranged for a translator for phone calls. A wonderful woman, they said.
Okay, good.
But the translator was Russian. And while she understood Ukrainian perfectly, she spoke to the Ukrainians in Russian.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That adds a whole other layer.
A huge layer. It caused, as they put it, an understandable reaction to hearing that voice. You have history, emotion, the current conflict, all tangled up in the language itself.
Yeah, even if the words were technically understood, the medium itself became a barrier, a painful one. It's such a stark reminder that communication is never, ever just about vocabulary, is it?
Not at all. So this individual had to, in their words, smooth it over. They learned really quickly to recognize who was okay talking to the Russian translator and who just wasn't. They had to constantly adjust their methods to suit each person.
That takes immense sensitivity and really quick thinking on your feet.
Yeah, they managed to set up job search training sessions, had regular attendees coming from all over the place, geographically.
That's amazing. It goes way beyond just translating words, doesn't it? It's about navigating these really personal, historical, emotional minefields. That's true empathetic communication.
Right. Recognizing the cultural context, the historical trauma, the emotional weight of a voice. These things create massive, often invisible barriers.
Their ability to adapt, to observe those subtle reactions and change tack, that's just profound empathy and dynamic learning in action. They were basically building trust moment by moment under really difficult circumstances.
And the whole experience gave this person a completely new perspective. They talked about what it felt like to be the only one in the room who had an idea of what was going on and needing to rely on a translator.
Experiencing that vulnerability firsthand, that's powerful for developing real empathy.
Definitely. They even shared a funny moment when they forgot the translator was needed, and a Ukrainian person with great English just jumped in to rescue the situation.
Huh. Human connection finds a way.
But then the funding stopped after just 3 months, which brought this really intense personal work to an end.
Ah, that's tough. So often the way with short-term funding, unfortunately.
Yeah. And even now, they occasionally meet up with a married couple they helped. This couple speaks no English at all, so they communicate just using sign language.
Wow.
And the individual says they deeply miss being able to communicate properly, even with a translator. It just underscores this fundamental human need, doesn't it? For connection, for easy understanding, without constantly fighting through those communication barriers.
That's such a poignant detail, that longing for effortless interaction, it goes way beyond formal aid programs, highlights the raw power of human connection itself.
So looking across both these stories, George McKenna's journey, the experience of the person supporting Ukrainian refugees, there's this really powerful, undeniable thread running through them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the profound importance of these human-centric skills, skills that are hard to just pin down on a resume sometimes.
Right, like George listening to calm a bus passenger all those years ago.
Or diagnosing a washing machine by understanding the user.
Or translating jargon into stories people get.
Or our support worker navigating those incredibly delicate cultural sensitivities.
In every case, the ability to genuinely connect, to empathize, to truly understand the person in front of you, that was paramount. These skills, honed over decades, they don't just get put on a shelf in retirement.
No, they transform. They find new outlets, new meaning, new ways to contribute or create.
And even in this world that's increasingly shaped by AI, both stories just scream that the human element is, well, it's irreplaceable.
And it's not just a nice idea, is it? We saw the specifics with George's AI struggles. Why, though, at a deeper level, is that human element so crucial and so hard for AI to replicate, even when talking to people who understand the tech?
Well, I think it's because AI, for all its amazing processing power, still fundamentally lacks, common sense, ethical reasoning, and maybe most importantly, the ability to truly grasp context beyond its training data.
Right. It doesn't get the unspoken stuff.
Exactly. It can't feel the emotional weight of history or understand the subtle cues of cultural identity or have that intuitive grasp of someone in distress. Those are the cognitive, emotional, social things that humans bring, and they're essential for real connection, for solving complex, messy, real-world problems. It's about wisdom, not just crunching data.
So authentic expertise.
Yeah.
It's not just technical know-how. It's really about that deeply human ability to connect, to understand, and crucially, to bridge gaps.
Yeah. Whether those gaps are linguistic, cultural, emotional, or even technological, like George figuring out how to use AI effectively for his human stories.
Retirement, then, far from being an endpoint, can be this really vibrant new beginning, a chance to apply these finely honed life skills in ways we maybe never anticipated.
Making an impact we might not have aimed for initially. These stories really remind us that our accumulated wisdom, it isn't static. It's a dynamic, living thing, always looking for new problems to solve, new connections to make.
So to leave you, our listener, with something.
One last thought before we go. Every voice today was 100% AI. If you spotted it, tell us what gave it away.